Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an ICE Sorcerer Wizard multi-class build guide for in Baldur's Gate 3. Now, the Wizard itself is a great class, but it provides a lot of utility, which I'll be getting into. We're going to be starting as a Sorcerer, because if you start as a Sorcerer, you can get Constitution saving throw proficiency, meaning we'll hold concentrations for longer, which is extremely useful for this build. On top of all of that, we can choose our Draconic Ancestor, which gives us a ton of damage. So, we're going to be going with, for cantrips, we're obviously going to want Freya Frost. I also like Shocking Grasp. Now, another nice thing is Mage Hand, because this can be used to throw water bottles to set up Wet, which will double the damage of cold and ice spells. And then Minor Illusion. It also doubles the damage of lightning spells, I should say. Minor Illusion is great because you can group enemies together. You can use Mage Hand and then have it throw a water bottle, hit them all, and then boom, lots of damage. I like to go with Chromatic Orb for this build because Chromatic Orb deals whatever damage type you like, so you can make it a cold or lightning orb. But for the first level, I think it's actually best to have Magic Missile, because you're going to be not hitting your attacks very often at the start of the game, so Magic Missile is guaranteed damage. And then Shield is a +5 to your armor class as a reaction. That's huge. Survivability is everything. As for our subclass, I think that it's best to go with the Draconic Bloodline, because this gives us the Draconic Resilience, giving us a 13 armor class while we're wearing light clothing like we are here, so that can be nice. And then we also get an extra 1 health point per level of Sorcerer, which is also great. As for our subclass, or for our ancestry, I think the White Dragon is the best. This gives us Armor of Agathis, and then at level 6 this will give us additional damage and the ability to create a resistance to cold damage, but we already have that from our armor. There's also one with Featherfall, but no, we're going with Armor of Agathis. Temporary health and deal cold damage to a creature that can attack you. That can also be upcast, which is really nice. So, as for our ability score, we are multi-attribute dependent, but we can use the Circlet of Intelligence in Act 1 to kind of circumvent that. So you can take all your points out of Intelligence, you'll get 17 from that. However, you do need Intelligence if you don't have that item, so that makes it a little bit tricky. So, if you don't have the Constitution, if you don't have it, we can also take points out of Constitution, put them into our Intelligence, and use the Constitution Amulet. So if you don't have the Circle of Intelligence, go with your stats somewhat like this. Ideally, yeah, 14 Dexterity, 16 Intelligence, 10 Wisdom, 17 Charisma. You can also take that down and put a couple points into Constitution, things like that. However, since we're going to be using the Circlet of Intelligence, we want to actually go all in on our Dexterity, because a higher Dexterity gives us a higher armor class. And then we can also put some of the points into Wisdom and Strength. So something like that. Maybe even go with 17 Charisma, take the Hag's Hair, make it a +1. And then finally we can put a final point in a whatever there, because it doesn't really matter. So that's what we're going to go with since we got the Circlet of Intelligence. Now I'll be going over all the gear options at the end of this video, so you can stay tuned for that, because there's some gear that makes this build really powerful, like the staff that I got there. So at level 2, we get our first meta magics, and then we can take our Chromatic Orb. Ice Knife is another nice one. 2d6 cold damage is sweet, but this can do 2d8 of cold damage, so a little bit better pure cold damage. Meta Magic's Distance Spell, plus 50% range, and Twin Spell. Twin Spell allows us to twin haste to ourselves and someone else, which is the most broken thing you can do in this game, so I'd recommend doing that if you want to make a very OP build. Now at next level, I think Hold Person is our best crowd control spell to go with. Holds an enemy still. They have to make a Wisdom saving throw to resist it, so if you got any way to daze the target with like a Paladin or any type of battle maneuvers, that is great, because that's going to allow you to apply this, get the critical hits on 3 attacks within 3 meters, which is massive. Now we're going to take Quicken Spell here. This is pretty powerful. Allows you to cast a spell as a bonus action, so eventually we can do Cone of Cold and Cone of Cold back to back. Very powerful. So for our next level, level 4, we get another cantrip. Friends is great if you're the face of the party. Firebolt can be nice because that can also set up water again. If you hit a nice surface, it'll make it steam, and then you can hit it again, it'll explode and make apply wet to targets, which is great. Bone Chill is good too, though, because it can stop a target from healing. You should always have this on someone, just in case you need to stop someone from healing, which is kind of an important thing at some points. Now, next level, I think it's actually best to go with Misty Step, because Misty Step is kind of our panic button. It's a bonus action. We can get out of jail free, basically, without proccing opportunity attacks. At level 11 Sorcerer, we can fly, so that's nice about that. As for our ability improvement, we'll take our Charisma up. You can also go with the Actor perk to give your proficiency bonus for Deception and Performance checks, which is a nice one, just to give a little bit extra if you want to just take... It'll give us 18 Charisma either way. If you have the Hag's Hair, though, that'll take it up to 20, so we'll just pretend we use the Hag's Hair on that. As for our spells at level 5, this is where we get some really fun ones. Now, haste is extremely powerful to take. If you want, lightning bolt is also a really good one because we're focusing mostly on create water. So with lightning bolt, we can use this to set up, and with lightning bolt, you can hit in a line, and it deals upwards of 48, which is doubled, so 96 damage, which is really good. But haste is just powerful. You can also just, if you want, swap out a previous spell, but we're going to leave it as is for now. And then at level 6 is where we get a big power spike, because we're going to get our elemental affinity damage. So when you cast a spell that deals the damage type of your draconic ancestry, you add your charisma modifier to the damage. So that'd be a +5 with the Hag's Hair to our cold damage spells. And whenever we deal a spell, we can get resistance to that damage type, so we can get cold resistance, which is cool. But next level, I think it's best to go with Lightning Bolt. Counterspell is another really great one to take. It stops a spell from being cast, which can keep your team alive. So go with that. I just want Lightning Bolt for a bit better nuke Nova damage there. Now the next cold spell that we get is Ice Storm. It's not amazing, but it creates an ice surface, which is pretty great for upsetting concentration. So we can go with that for our next leveled spell. Greater Invisibility is nice too, and so is Confusion, but I think it's best to go with Ice Storm. We already have our Hold Person if we need a stronger version of that. I think it's best to actually go with Counterspell at this level, although Confusion is pretty good too. I think just Counterspell brings a lot to the table. As for our feat, we could potentially take up our Dexterity to 18. There's a few options that we get. So we can go with Warcaster to give advantage on saving throws, and you can use a reaction to cast Shock and Grasp. That's okay, but we already get advantage on saving throws to hold concentration from the Constitution Amulet. So you can go with Spell Sniper. We can learn something like Eldritch Blast for just easy damage, plus the number we need to roll a critical hit is reduced by 1. So that can be good, but we're mostly going to be focusing on other ways of getting damage, so that doesn't end up being as useful as some others. Now, I'm also a fan of using the Alert perk for the +5 to initiative and Can't Be Surprised, so that we can go first in combat and just basically just nuke everyone. Ability Improvement to take Dexterity up's nice for the +1 initiative and +1 armor class. I'm just going to take the Actor feat, but I didn't take Hag's Hair, so this is just kind of replicating that. But you can also go with the +2 to your Dexterity. Actually, I might just do it just to show off what the armor class can get up to, so we'll go with that. Increased initiative is also really nice. And for our next spell, level 9, Cone of Cold, super powerful, 8d8 of cold damage, and it also creates ice surface. And 68 times 2, we get 128 max damage with that. Really good, really good. And for the next level spell that we should take, we also get another cantrip, Firebolt. Hold Monster. This is a game changer. Paralyze a creature, can't move, act, or react. Attacks within 3 meters are always critical hits. Basically can stop an encounter pretty quickly. This is very overpowered, so we're going to take it. It's really good. This works on anything but undead, but typically there's not very many hard undead to fight, so it's great. Subtle Spell will allow us to cast spells while silenced, although you just can walk out of the silenced area. Targets of spells that require saving throws have disadvantage on their first saving throw, which can be good. So that can allow you to hit your hold persons a little bit more frequently. But Subtle Spell or Heightened Spell are really kind of the best. Even Careful Spell can be pretty decent. Toggleable passive feature. Well, maybe we'll take that. And then for level 11, this is where it kind of comes all together. There's some great spells here. Global Vulnerability is awesome, but this doesn't require any spellcasting modifier. So I think the best way to use this is actually take it from the Wizard, because the Wizard can cast this without really even thinking. It just uses your... It just needs to be learned. You don't need to have an X amount of charisma for it to pass. For that reason, we're going to take Chain Lightning to give ourselves that additional damage from that. So strike an enemy with lightning, 3 more bolts leap from target, electrifying as many as 3 others within 80 meters. Huge. That is extremely powerful in this build because it'll be doubled alongside our cold damage. However, I prefer using Cone of Cold over it. Still extremely good. And we'll take Global Invulnerability from the Wizard. Now, for the next level, or I guess we'll switch into Wizard here. A single level dip in Wizard is actually probably the best way to do this, because the Wizard itself is already so powerful. So we'll just take those for our cantrips. Doesn't really matter too much. And then for our, I guess, next cantrips, Mage Armor is pointless to take since we have it built in. Find Familiar and Fog Cloud are 2 that I really like. Witch Bolt can give us something that's an attack roll. It's not amazing, but it's something. Long Strider for increased distance is nice too. Sleep becomes obsolete at this point. False Life for 7 temporary health can be good. We'll take Ice Knife because we didn't take it earlier. And it's only letting me prepare 1 spell right now, but you'll see we'll be able to prepare more. So that is the build here. I'll be getting into the gear now and showing you, like, so our wizard spells, as you can see, we now have the 4 there. So we can go into our, I guess I'll have to consult with Gale here to get our spells. I have all of them on him, so you can take things like, if you didn't take Cone of Cold already, you can take that. You can take really any level spells. So we can take Circle of Death we want. Trying to find where I have all these spells. Scroll of Fear. Lightning Bolt's really good. I would recommend going with any type of summon. So if you got a Conjure Elemental, there's our Globe of Invulnerability. I know I have a Scroll of Summoning somewhere. It might just be in a different chest, and I don't want to go looking for it. But yeah, we can load ourselves up with a lot of these spells and then just cast them. So I also didn't mention, but at level 11 we get Fly for free, which is great. So yeah, we'll go in and you just have to learn the spell. So just a right click and learn spell, and then you can go in here and then we got it there. You just learn it really quick and easy. So we'll take those on, and our sorcerer you have to respec to change your classes, your choices there. But typically what we want to be doing is we want to be twinning haste to ourselves and 1 other ally before combat starts. I'd recommend doing it on like a fighter so they can go and do 6 attacks. Globe of Invulnerability is huge. You can use this to basically win any encounter that you're failing. So that's really great. We also got Arcane Recovery 1. So it gives us an extra level 1 spell. Not amazing, but it's not bad, because that means we could cast like Armor of Agathis on ourselves. If we upcast it, it's up to 30 damage, which is nice, but even just giving ourselves a bit of that Armor of Agathis is great. And it lasts as long as we have temporary health. So this goes really well with our cold build. It allows us to deal a ton of damage, alongside just the resistance that it comes with it too. Twin spell, fantastic. There's our Fly. So the Fly uses movement speed, which is great, so we can just fly around. It's not like the Illithid Fly. It looks a little better. And then for the way we want to go about combat, having our Raven is not a bad familiar to have around, because the Raven, despite having only 1 health, that takes 1 hit for our team, but it can also blind targets. So you can go in and blind people with your Raven, which is nice because it's not a very high chance of hitting, but it at least gives something to alright, there we go. It took 3 attempts, we blinded Shadowheart finally. It's just a little extra that you can bring in, and plus we have that Arcane Recovery charge, so you can pop that in. However, the way we want to be doing this is the armor that I got on, the Wave Mother's Robe, gives us a level 4 Create Water, and we heal in water, so that's nice. We have a 24 armor class, which is pretty good, all things considered. The Intelligence Circlet, these are giving us a +1 armor class and saving throws. Winter's Clutches gives us 2 turns of Encrusted with Frost whenever we deal cold damage. And then the Snowburst Ring creates a 4.5 meter circle of ice around the target when we deal cold damage. So, very nice. Morning Frost, you can get this in Act 1. When dealing cold damage, we deal an additional 1. The staff itself deals cold damage. And dealing cold damage possibly inflicts chilled on the target, which then we can give them, that gives them vulnerability to bludgeoning, force, and thunder damage. So lots of options there in Viconia's Walking Fortress. So that's pretty good. Typically what we want to do is start with Create Water to see how big this level 4 Create Water is. That's awesome. So we can just like pop that down. Now this doesn't start combat, which is great, so you can just apply Wet and then you just literally go right to blasting with your Chain Lightning, which can, we started combat. So yeah, what's nice about that is we can deal a ton of damage really quick and easy with this. I hate to do this for everyone, but oh jeez. Yeah, I guess we're fighting against everyone now, but the Storm Sorcerer, as you can see, we got a huge area of electrified water, so that's dealing damage to everyone. But yeah, we got lots of powerful spells between Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning. Cone of Cold is what I was hoping to start with, but yeah, this is an extremely powerful build because we can electrocute everyone. And we got Counterspell to stop everything. Oh, I got confused. Oh no. Oh no. We'll see if this works. For some reason my turn for the bird, I'm confused, it didn't give me an attack, but yeah, this is a very powerful build for a number of reasons, because we can deal a ton of damage with our cold spells, and hopefully it won't end up like this. So yeah, Ice and Lightning, two best friends in Baldur's Gate 3. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.